Tonight, on The Good, the Bad, and the Unknown, Ernest Borgnine chops some meat, sacrifices John Travolta, and gets on the bus. Roll the intro. Hello, boys and girls, the old friend RJ City, and I am back with another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Unknown, where I take an artist and I find one of their works that I like, one that I don't, and one that not a lot of people know about. And today I'm very excited because I'm talking about Ernest Borgnine, which is one of the just great Hollywood names to say ever. But actually, he was born Ernest Ephron Borgnino, which is only slightly weirder than Ernest Borgnine. He was in a bunch of different things like The Wild Bunch, Poseidon Adventure, McHale's Navy, The Dirty Dozen, Escape from New York, but our younger viewers may know him as the voice of Mermaid Man in SpongeBob SquarePants. And speaking of Merman, he was married 5 times, and one of those marriages was to Ethel Merman, the woman who has always had my heart. It is an infamous Hollywood marriage because it only lasted 45 days. And in Ethel's autobiography, when she got to the chapter about her marriage to Ernest Borgnine, she just left a single blank page, which is saying a lot. So let's get on to the good, shall we? Because the good is very good. It has a lot of critical acclaim, and it is a 1955 rom-com called simply Marty. Not simply Marty, it's just called Marty. It was based on a TV movie by Paddy Chayefsky. And in that version, Marty was played by Rod Steiger. It was one of only 3 films to win the Oscar for Best Picture and the Palme d'Or. The last film to do that was actually Parasite from last year. Very interesting. So this is a very renowned, beloved film. In 1994, it was put into the Library of Congress. Ernest Borgnine plays Marty, a 34-year-old butcher in the Bronx who lives with his mother. His siblings are all married with children, and there's pressure to find someone and settle down. And there's a lot of back and forth between that. He meets a girl. His mother doesn't want him to leave, so the mother tries to sabotage the relationship. But it's humorous and lighthearted, yet emotional and very resonant. Very interestingly enough, it has the uncredited debut role of Jerry Orbach from Law and Order. It was shot in 16 days. It was also a commercial success, and it also paved the way for works on television and TV movies to be taken so seriously. Because it was an adaptation of a TV movie, usually film actors and cinema in general would look down upon TV. And this was the beginning of them going, hey, there may be something more here for us to use. Ernest Borgnine also won Best Actor for this role, beating out, listen to this list, James Cagney, James Dean, Spencer Tracy, and Frank Sinatra. So it was quite a coup for old Ernie, and I highly recommend, as pretty much everyone does, you watch Marty. Moving on to the bad. The bad is infamously bad. And it is a 1975 B horror movie called The Devil's Rain. And it's not rain, R-E-I-N. It's rain, R-A-I-N, because this movie contains a lot of rain, both in the literal sense and as a plot point. Really hot stuff, really Satanistic weather. It stars William Shatner, and also the famous Hollywood Satanist Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan is credited as the technical advisor. It's very suspicious. I feel like you would probably have to pay him, and he would lend his name like that to give B horror movies more credibility among Satanists. And like, ooh, what could this be about? So Ernest Borgnine plays a satanic priest named Jonathan Corbis, who harasses William Shatner's family to get a powerful satanic book that I'm sure does a lot of things. It's not really clear. But most importantly, Ernest Borgnine, later in the film at the climax, transforms into a goat demon. And if you thought Ernest Borgnine was weird looking before, wait till you see him as a demonic goat. Again, there is a lot of rain, and it has an effect on a lot of the characters, not least of which is the devil. It's just weird and creepy. It's not actually scary, and also the plot makes no sense. I can tell you nothing about the book, and I can tell you nothing about the rain. Things happen just because they happen, but I think if you need one plot point to remember, it's that Ernest Borgnine transforms into a goat man. Not surprisingly, it was a critical and a commercial failure. I do have some trivia about the film that is quite endearing. A cast, like a mold of Shatner's face, in this film was used to create a Captain Kirk mask when they needed one on Star Trek. And it was that mask that was painted white to eventually become Michael Myers' mask in Halloween. So without the Devil's Reign, you may not have had Halloween. And the reason that this film is talked about at all is that it's the screen debut of John Travolta in a minor role. This was his first movie. He's barely in it. However, his next films after this are Carrie, Saturday Night Fever, and Grease. So this was literally immediately before the takeoff. Devil's Reign, Carrie, Saturday Night Fever, and Grease. Because of that, and because it took off so quickly, when it was on, VHS or they re-released it in theaters, it was forever promoted as starring John Travolta because he was so successful. And these poor, young girls who liked him in Grease were probably rushing out, buying copies of The Devil's Reign, wanting to see John Travolta, who is barely in it. Instead, they have to see William Shatner and Ernest Borgnine transform into a goat demon. It was a weird pendulum at the time. Nevertheless, for a myriad of reasons, my bad is The Devil's Reign. So the good was Marty, the bad was Devil's Reign, and now let's get on to the unknown. And the unknown is something I found years ago on YouTube, and I could not stop thinking about it. Every day of my life I think about it. It's up publicly on YouTube for you to watch. I suggest you watch it because it is a lighthearted romp. It's called Ernest Borgnine on the Bus. It is a 1997 documentary about Ernest Borgnine driving around the country on a bus. It's his 40-foot bus named the Sun Bum, and he travels the Midwest with his son, and it's about 40 minutes long, and he's literally just seeing sights, telling Hollywood stories while he's driving, and just meeting people, saying hi to people, and he's happy to see them, and the people are, of course, happy to see Ernest Borgnine. That's it. No conflict, no climax, no real plot. Nevertheless, it makes me so happy to watch. If you are ever in a bad mood, if you ever need a pick-me-up, you must watch Ernest Borgnine's On the Bus. He talks a lot about his life and career. He talks about how him and Shelley Winters did not get along and they would not appear on camera together even when they were in the same scene. All those stories are interesting. He talks about Marty. He does not mention The Devil's Reign, unfortunately. He does a lot of singing. He does a lot of laughing. He visits cornfields, trailer parks, Iowa, Milwaukee, and most importantly, a shoe factory, where he likes to get his shoes made. And he seems to know everyone there, and everyone, of course, knows him. This is the real peak of the celebrity of Ernest Borgnine. He is so happy. He is so pleasant. Everyone is smiling and laughing, and it is absolutely the nicest thing you will ever see. It was originally shot. The whole reason it even exists is because it was shot as a pilot that never got picked up, I guess, about different celebrities touring and traveling. I mean, I wouldn't mind if a whole series was about Ernest Borgnine on a bus. And the best way I can describe it is that it feels exactly like you're on a bus with Ernest Borgnine. And I mean that in the best possible way. So the good is Marty, the bad is The Devil's Reign, and the unknown is Ernest Borgnine on the bus. I am RJ City, and this is what I've chosen to do with my life. Guests of the RJ City Show, subscribe to his channel, follow him on social media, and buy his t-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/RJ City.